Hey everyone, Wander here, and welcome to Vital Shell. It is a fairly, it's a retro mecha bullet heaven. I don't think it really does too much to advance the genre, but it looks like something you would have played in an arcade back in the 90s, or like early 2000s. It looks great, so we're going to dive in and see how it goes. A battle. Player select. Koenig. Can I actually even swap characters? No, it doesn't look like I can at the moment. We're going to the island runes and see how this goes. This feels like a game that I would have expected to see on like the PS2 or maybe the Dreamcast, which I don't know. I'm big on. Wait, are these like weird head chicken walker things? Oh yeah, this is definitely like Dreamcast era. Music too, actually. I don't know. I've become progressively more obsessed with like old school games lately. Okay, so we can get, well, let's take a look. Shell equipment. So I've got Hand of Justice, which is a physical type weapon. So we might want to stick to physical for now. So we could do Argent Lance? Probably. There is the Skyfall Mortar, which is interesting. Okay, I think we need to turn some of these sound effects down. What does streamer mode do? It might be something to do with the music. I'm going to leave it on just in case it is like a copyright thing. And yeah, I might have to just keep messing with the sound settings, but it might also be one of those that we just kind of accept that it's going to be a little scuffed. Go from there. But yeah, definitely getting big Brotato vibes from this, kind of. Yeah, I mean, yeah, here. So we've leveled up, we can get max health, dodge, boost recharge speed. Oh. And just attack speed. Let's just go for attack speed. Force damage, elemental damage, or potency. Each weapon's potency effect. So we also get a gem. Oh, so we can do extra damage. We can do a little bit of lifesteal on something. I think I'm going to stick that on the Hand of Justice. Though maybe I should have actually put that on the Argent Lance. Considering the Hand of Justice, I don't think is attacking as much. I mean, it seems like it's getting a fair number of hits in, so maybe it's not so super bad. Okay, we're getting a little bit of lifesteal. I wonder if lifesteal is one of those where it's, rather than a percentile of the damage that you're dealing, it's a percentile of, let's see, regen. So crit strike chance might not be a bad idea. Regen gives me healing, but I do have lifesteal, so maybe I don't need it that bad. Let's go for the crit chance, because I think I'm going to need the damage. So, physical damage, which would be good. 10%, yeah. And then, Shell Protocol. Ooh, Incinerate. Enemies felled by crits leave behind pools of fire. Okay, so that kind of fits the builds that we're starting to go for. I was a little worried when I just saw the basic stat min-maxing that it was just going to be, there wasn't going to be much for like actual build crafting available, but having crits do a burn effect is going to be very much what I need to be able to do, well, I don't know, to just have fun. For me, I'm persistently obsessed with the idea of build crafting in these games, that build crafting and player agency, I want to be able to come up with a build for myself that I can enjoy that like is singularly mine. Let's see. A little bit of movement speed might not be a bad idea. And more crit chance. Okay, so Fury attack speed. If I try getting another opal and put it in, do they fuse? I'm going to have to double check that one. Because it feels like it would be weird if they didn't. Okay. Now we do also have a boost, so yeah, I can zoom around. And like dodge things, which is good. Hopefully all of my experience just flies into me and I don't need to pick it up at all. It's a hell of a lot of enemies coming after me. Oi. I mean, it seems like it all flies in, so we don't need to worry about it. Crit chance. Let's see, dodge. Each weapon's potency effects. Oh, double attack or pierce. Okay, so wave reward special. So, hail of bullets in front of the shell. Elemental force, I mean, might as well go for barrage. Oh, I can actually, like, manually aim. Interesting. I'm not going to bother. That works in some games where you're really trying to kite enemies around, but here, I don't know. Not actually sure if I particularly need it. If it makes any kind of difference here. Okay, it's right click to do my special. And looks like enemies just drop the special orb as a, like a regular item drop. Okay, potency, dodge, a little bit of range. Ooh, attack range and pickup range. That's good stuff. Reduce the amount of damage taken. Force damage or regen. I think I'm going to go for regen more than anything else. Looks like the gems did not fuse. I'm going to put that on the Urgent Lance. Okay, it looks like the rounds also get just a little bit longer. I really like the big chunky mech look. It's basic, but it works really well. It's got kind of that, like, I mean, what do I want to say? It's kind of Armored Core adjacent, but obviously a little bit clunkier. Maybe it's like OG Armored Core. I'd actually have to go back and play the old one that I used to play as a kid to, like, really see where I stand on the one. Oh, good. You can actually have multiple specials running simultaneously. That's actually quite helpful. You may also want to look into going for a hard... that extra pickup range is actually extremely helpful. But it might be worth going for like a hard range or physical damage. Attack speed, a little bit more range. No, I think we need the attack speed at this point. Okay, second life. After reloading 8 times, gain a damage buff. Crits have a chance to grant a special charge. Let's go for that one. What was my brain on that one? I don't even remember. It's okay. But yeah, I think... I don't know if it's like, well, it's probably a result of, like, modern times. But I've been finding myself retreating at least a little bit more into nostalgia. Not necessarily, like, for nostalgia's sake, but just because there's a lot of stuff that I missed when I was younger that I never got around to for any number of reasons. Be it, you know, ill timing or lack of budget. You know, I was a kid. Couldn't afford everything. Only had so many games that were, like, available to me. And there's a lot of stuff that I just straight up missed, never heard about. Didn't see in the game store and would have picked up it had I known it was there. And so now that I'm, you know, a fully grown adult that can pick up... Ooh, do we want to do... Yeah, chance to fully block incoming damage. I think I'd rather have that than the other one. It says tier 1 acuity. I'm just gonna keep pumping crit into the Argent Lance, though I should probably not do too much of it. Right. And yeah, I should just be using the barrage constantly. Which we should probably also... Oh, if I'm gonna boost anything crit-wise, it would be barrage, now that I'm thinking about it. Because if I can have barrage have, like, a super big crit chance, we can have it self-sustain, probably. Okay, where are we at? Oh, this is very goofy. I'm pretty much able to self-sustain barrage completely already. Okay, I actually really like this Bullet Heaven. Like I said, I don't think it really does much to, like, really push the genre ahead, but it does exemplify it extremely well. Physical damage. Do I want to go for that block? Wow, that block actually made a huge difference. Sure. Some attack speed. Let's see. Damage from all sources. Yeah. Alright. And Earth Forger. Slowly fires a powerful piercing attack. Sure. Nice shoulder cannon look. God, I'd love to play one of these where it actually looks like Armored Core. The over-the-shoulder as opposed to, like, top-down. I think top-down's fine, but it feels like the Bullet Heaven genre its like biggest weakness is the fact that they are all locked to an isometric or full top-down view. And that's a bit of a shame, because I feel like the genre would actually benefit greatly by moving to full 3D. Mega Bonk is an easy example of this, where it really doesn't do anything special compared to Vampire Survivors. It is just Vampire Survivors, but 3D. But it's good. People love it. And, like, I'm still kind of hoping we get, like, a proper Dynasty Warriors Bullet Heaven. I know there was one, but it was, like, an isometric top-down-y thing. Let's see, do we want to go dodge? Yeah, let's just go armor rating. Okay, crit chance, which I want to put... Oh, I can't put on the barrage. Unfortunate, but that's okay. Guess I should put it on the sword, too. That is what it is. Let's see. So I was talking about nostalgia and stuff and, like, wanting to go back to some of these games. Like, I don't know, there was just kind of like a weird, rampant, creative energy that indie games very much still exemplify in a lot of cases. But that older games, even like AAA, generally did. So, going back to play Mega Man Legends is probably like an easy-ish example of this for me. Which was a game that very much... Ooh, crystal? Ooh, big magnet. Which I still don't know if it's necessary, considering... Okay, we actually... I think I just need to hold down the barrage button, because we have so many barrages that we actually can't use them all. That's very fun. Just gonna keep going damage. Go for some crit. I'll put it on that one. Hopefully we get some way of, like, merging the gems together. Maybe it's like a 3-gem thing. See, I want to just go hard fire and see where it goes. The other thing is very much from like a context perspective, that going back to old games gives me the ability to kind of look at, I don't want to say like look at the games industry with like a little bit more knowledge and understanding of like where we started and how far we've come. So like Armored Core being an easy example of this, where like the original Armored Cores were much clunkier than the modern one, which is like absurdly fast and like legitimately really tough. Okay, let's grab that magnet, which I still don't know if it's necessary because I see every crystal flying to me at the end, so who knows. Okay, a bit more physical damage, a bit more crit chance. We want to get that crit chance up pretty high. Crits grant a stacking attack speed buff. Oh boy. Okay. This is very fun. Fire all of the bullets. Yeah, so the more enemies we have coming after us, the faster I'm going to be firing. And that is going to be extremely goofy. Looks like it's somewhere around like a 25-30% speed boost, but I like that. Ow. Ooh, these enemies hurt. I'm walking into a number of them, thinking I can actually take the damage, but I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to regret it. Yeah, we might need to focus on survivability at this point. Oh, is regen just determine how much I get healed by the medkits? Might be. Is that it? Did we... Oh. Are we having diminishing returns now? That's rough. Let's see. At least we only have a couple waves left. So we can kind of hold on long enough. We might actually be able to survive this. The last round was a lot tougher. This one seems a little bit more balanced in what's spawning. is putting me in a mostly good position, kind of. And now I'm just going to keep using these, grab one of those. It's a really bad time for me to have, like, the world's itchiest nose. But I guess this game is largely playable one-handed, so maybe it's not so bad. It feels like there's supposed to be something I can do with the gems, where I can, like, fuse them together, but I don't know what it is yet. Force damage, potency. Curious about potency. The power of the potency effect. Okay, there we go. Socket all acuity into a weapon. So liquefaction. Attacks apply burning damage proportional to critical strike chance. Oh. Okay. So there's like fusion, gem fusion kind of recipes. Sick. The other thing is, like, the older I get, the more I kind of realize that there is like a number of these games that I loved as a kid, or other people loved as a kid, that straight up are kind of forgotten. You know, they might be preserved by, like, good old games, or, you know, people still bring it up every once in a while, or there's like a meme account dedicated to preserving it. Which really, the only game I can think of that's doing that is, there's like a guy who's on a personal crusade to meme the hell out of Quest 64, which I find extremely funny, and also should probably play Quest 64. So I guess mission accomplished for them, at least in regards to me and how I think about the game. I actually found it at a used game store for like $5, and I'm like, hell yeah. I'm gonna play Quest 64 at some point. I don't know when, but I'm going to. Attacks have a chance to, on hit, to increase critical strike. Oh no. Boy howdy, we're in Crit Town now. So do these cap out? Okay, these buffs seem to cap out at 30%, so they're not quite as good as I think they would be, but still. Also, unfortunately, Barrage seems to be kind of limited range-wise, but is what it is. Why is this, like, actually a really good bullet heaven? I mean, I totally understand it. They just made a good bullet heaven. It's not even that hard. Like, the point is to just play other bullet heavens, make something similar, but do enough different that, you know, it's just not more of the same. Like, that's the only thing that is required to make a good bullet heaven at this point. They don't need to be this, like, amazing, groundbreaking thing. You just have to do something kind of fun. Let's see. And then sell it for extremely cheap. Let's go for the potency. And do we want to mix in lifesteal? Hand of Justice. Let's see what that turns into. Hand of Justice. Reloading restores HP, deals physical damage to a nearby enemy. Interesting. So, it looks like there might be very specific combos that may have, like, unique effects. I'll just have to keep that in mind. And, like, I think this is something I've always struggled with a little bit in terms of, you know, people not remembering these like, older games, for example. Is that, like, also a lot of people just aren't aware of stuff. Like, this is a thing I've seen people talking about on Blue Sky recently. I follow a ton of indie developers, and they're all recounting different stories where they're interacting with somebody who plays video games in the wild. And I think it was like, oh, who was it? I think it was one of the Wanderstop developers was talking. Developers, like, I think the art director was talking about running into somebody who was, like, excited to hear that they were into, or that they were... Let's see. Let's try one of everything into the Earth Forger, if I can manage it. I think we're going to come up short, but still. Yeah, they ran into somebody that, you know, was like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I make video games. And the person was like, oh, cool, what kind of games? Oh, Wonderstop. And they made like a weird look at them and was like, oh, I play like first-person shooters or something like that. Or I don't play those games. I play first-person shooters. And it was like an odd experience because like games are games, man. It doesn't mean like you need to be weirdly mean about, you know, it not being your exact flavor. It's like running into an author and finding out that, no, they write like romance novels. That's still valid and cool. You just might not be interested in the subject matter, but you can at least be interested in the rest of the process. I don't know. Anyway. But a lot of people were kind of chiming in with their own versions of it, of like, you know, running into somebody who's like extremely into one specific kind of game, Legend of Zelda. More crit chance, more crit chance. Or Dark Souls or something like that. In such a way that like there's a nothing else pierces the veil. Like for them, all they care about is Zelda and nothing more. I guess some of this really does come down to you only have so much time, like given time to pay attention to video games, so you're gonna miss tons of them. Like I miss games all the time. This came out last week and I didn't even realize, and that would have been great. I've been scraping the bottom of the barrel for a couple of days looking for stuff to cover, and here's a Bullet Heaven that's like legitimately good, and I completely missed it, even though the developer emailed me about it a while ago. Admittedly, it was for the prologue version. I had to pick this copy up, and it was like $4, so it's like, okay, sure, why not? Is there a way that I can actually turn on gameplay? We have auto attack. So my problem is I want to auto special because I have infinite special, and I want to be jamming it out as much as possible. I'm getting a little tired of hitting right click. That's fine. I'll probably have a completely different build for next time that does not require this. Ooh. Fulgurite. Tier 3 Acuity. Adds fire damage to attacks. Well, I want that. We're going to go for the Opal, because I want to see if there's one that you get for Fragmentation Resonance to a physical weapon. Yeah. Oh. I know we've got this guy. He's got armpit guns? Come back here, you. I'm going to corner you with my infinite bullets. You don't threaten me. I'm absurd. Look at those numbers fly into you. Ow, ow. Okay, those hurt a little bit. Let's not do too much of that, and he's toast. Alright, high score, rank A. I think we did well. Okay, devotion level. What is happening, man? Select an affinity to devote yourself to. At the end of each run, gain experience in the selected track. Awarding permanent stat increases with each level. Accessible from the main menu. Reroll gems. Powerful enemies drop reroll gems. Currency persists between runs and used to reroll on wave rewards. Okay, we've also unlocked armpit gun. Let's see. The Fate Weaver. The Balloon Cannon. Fulgurite. Let's see. Armor rating. Permanent stat increase. Some permanent block. More armor. Okay. So we have memory card. Vital Shell. That's fun. Let's see. Game guide. Devotions. Okay. So this is devotion, active devotion, divinity. So gets me more stats and has a lot of things to potentially unlock. The rest we have to unlock as well. Cool. Options, don't care. Let's go back to battle. This time, Bloodfang. Four-armed shell has an innate agility. However, its agile frame can only wield light weapons. Boosting reloads all weapons and grants a bonus to attack speed. Cool. Well, do we want to do ice caverns? Sure. This really is just like the most Dreamcast game I've played in a while, which I love, even though I actually never owned a Dreamcast and never will. Like, weirdly enough, it's the one retro console that I have like zero interest in, even though I know a lot of people loved it. I had a friend who had it. I think that's maybe part of the problem, is that he wasn't a very good friend, and so I associate the Dreamcast with him, which is completely, you know. Okay, can I check my weapon? Crimson Duet is also a physical weapon. I was really hoping I could not have that, so we can get a light weapon, shell protocol, So we get 2 shell protocols, 2 more weapons. No, 4 shell protocols, 1 special light weapon. Crit was good. Like, really good. But let's not do that again. Let's go for the Shell Mortar. Or Fate Weaver. Let's go for a Skyfall Mortar. Let's get some AoEs up in this. And see if I can go for a Force build. I was really hoping I could, like, swap out this guy's basic starter weapons, but I don't know. Maybe I can get it so that it does force damage somewhere along the way, or something. Let's see. It's max health. Probably some block. Okay. I'm going to go for Lifesteal on the Crimson Duet. And we're just going to max Lifesteal out. That seems to be how you unlock the tier 3 Lifesteal gem. Is to just like go all in on... Let's see. Going all in on 1 gem for a weapon. And then I think I'll do attack speed on the mortar. And just see what kind of stuff I can equip. And then we'll figure out other things. And gem combos later. Hopefully there's like a recipe book I can rely on. The one thing I wish about this character is that the arms would point in different directions. I think that would be extremely cool. Let's see. Do we want to get a little bit of regen? Yersh. Yeah, do we want to go for force damage? I think so. Gain armor at the end of each wave. Let's go for that one. I'm assuming that just gives us like a permanent stat up. Getting that early seems vaguely useful. Probably. Let's see. Yeah, rather than trying to focus on damage, I think I'm going to mostly shoot for attack speed. I don't really have a reason for that. I mean, both is good. But we will see. But yeah, so while the Dreamcast had some like really good games in its mix, let's go for some more regen, and some range, and some force, and more lifesteal, more lifesteal. I figure the twin guns shoot fairly quickly, and so hopefully getting 20% lifesteal should make it so that they keep me up even if they don't do that much damage. But yeah, apart from like the one friend that kind of tainted the Dreamcast for me, a lot of the games that were on the Dreamcast kind of feels like got ported. Again, don't know if this is fully true, but at least on my end, a lot of the games that like I wanted on the Dreamcast got kind of superior ports. Sonic Adventure 2, for example, had like the battle mode tacked on and maybe some extra content. Let's see. Probably go for the attack speed, and force. Yeah, Rocket Storm. I'll wait until we get a little overwhelmed. Unfortunately, that last round would have actually been really good to get some kills, but they were bunched up, but I was not hitting them, which means I probably should have gone for manual aiming and tried to shoot for center of mass, especially with explosions. Oh well. I kind of forgot I could do that for a bit. Let's fire some rockets. Oh, so the rockets don't home in. So it's best if done when I'm surrounded. Go from there. Okay, cool. But so, yeah, a lot of the stuff that I was like really excited for Dreamcast just became readily available in a way that I didn't feel like I needed it. Let's see, speed, damage, dodge. We probably could use the damage. And yeah, let's start doing Sardonyx onto the Skyfall Mortar. See what else I can kind of unlock with that one. Let's see. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there were actually like a lot of really good Dreamcast games that I'm completely unaware of that I should look into at some point. And, you know, there's always the good old Yarhar if I like really feel the need to look into it. I kind of thinking of this from the perspective of like I kind of wanted a PS Vita, but it came out in at such a time where I didn't care. Specifically, the Vita had come out, I think, a little bit before I'd started this channel. But as part of it, I wasn't really able to record anything on the Vita, so it didn't really seem like it was worth my time or effort. In the same way that, like, you know, getting like a home console that I could actually record from is. Elemental damage, regen rating. I think I'm going to go for that. Attacks have a chance to crit chance, drain. I could re-roll this. We have one re-roll gem. I do like strike reflex for the special charges, but let's go for the damage buff reroll. I just don't want to do the exact same thing every time. Let's see. I think I might actually want to go for like a elemental crit build at some point. It actually seems like those have a really natural synergy. Even more so than physical, which surprised me a little bit, but hey. But yeah, so I was kind of looking into whether or not I wanted to find like a old used Vita before they become completely inaccessible to me. The wheel. Oh, I like that. Let's see. But ended up kind of passing on it because I was trying to look at like, yeah, what games even came out on the Vita? Because I mostly wanted the Vita for like the handheld form factor. I really miss having a Game Boy. I have one, obviously. I have a couple, but I miss just being able to pull a Game Boy out of my pocket. Let's see. And just play stuff for a few hours or even a few minutes. One of the problems I've been struggling with over the last year is that my phone usage has gone way high. And this should come as a surprise to literally no one at this point. You know, just current events make it really difficult to not want to stare into the void. And so, I've been struggling. Oh, right, I forgot. My dodge. I should probably actually be boosting dodge to hell and back again on this dude, shouldn't I? Let's see. Oh, my health is doing fine, actually, somehow. It seems like my dodge, I do like a spin blast when I do it. Oh, I've been building this guy wrong. I just figured he had low durability, so I give him everything else, but I mean, it's fine. We're doing okay. Let's see. More force. I think I'm going to go for a little bit of range. Not really giving me the option, is it? Okay, physical, elemental. Damn it. Oh, Bloom Cannon. Yeah, I guess I should go for, like, overall damage or something. We will see. But so, some part of me really wants to, like, get into obsessively playing games on a handheld system that I can just, like, pull out at any time. And, I mean, things I could do is probably just, like, co-opt my wife's Switch Lite, because she's not using it that much, because that's tiny and easy to just kind of have on hand. Maybe not in my pocket when I'm out and about, but at least somewhat on hand. I have an analog pocket, which is like, I'd love to play that more, and I do. Or will. The problem I have with it mostly boils down to the fact that the carts are kind of few. Well, they're kind of rare. Oops. That's okay. This is a bad build anyway. Rank F. Devotion to Fury. Yeah, I think we're just going to try this guy again. If I'm going to be somewhat hard-locked here, we might as well just stick to physical, be a little bit generic, and I was really hoping I could at least get the lifesteal bonus. But yeah, I think we need a character that starts with a force gun for me to do a force build. Hopefully you can actually swap the weapons, like the starting weapons out at some point. Okay, we're going to go all in on dodge, because it actually seems like that's how this character really sings. Okay, Bloom Cannon, Fate Weaver, Argent Lance. Bloom Cannon right from the get-go. Yeah. I think we're going to be in the thick of it, we're not going to have too much range. And we want to just go for, like, crit. I don't even know if we want to go for attack speed necessarily. Hard crit, hard dodge, maybe some more max HP. And yeah, some degree of lifesteal. Just to give me that little bit of healing. Okay, I still think I want to go for lifesteal on the Crimson Duet. See if I can get that so it can heal me up kind of to full. Give or take. But yeah, so what ended up pulling me away from the Vita was I was just looking at its exclusives and I was just like, oh, there's like 50 of them. And the rest are all just like enhanced ports of old games or ports of modern games that came out at the same time. And not to say that exclusives are necessary. Frankly, at this point, exclusives are rapidly becoming a thing of the past or like a thing emblematic entirely to a very small subset of games. Do I actually want the movement speed? Slightly? I think I'm still going to go for the block and the dodge. Attacks have a chance on hit to increase crit? Yeah. I guess we're just going to commit to it. At least until we find some other perks that we can use that are just as good, if not better. Let's see. Because yeah, nowadays, if we're talking about exclusives, there's like a handful of Sonys. Obviously, Nintendo is still very much all about their first-party exclusives and will be for forever. And that's fine. I don't really begrudge Nintendo that. They can do what they want. The Switch is very much still probably the best handheld. Physical damage, probably physical damage. A little bit of range. And do we want to do Fury? Yeah, let's do Fury. If I want to mix any crit gems in, I'd probably want to put in the like T3 ones, but I think they're rare. But I think rather than wanting a Vita specifically, I want a handheld PC that is the size of a Vita. And I mean, considering the Asus ROG Ally and the Steam Deck and the Switch and whatnot, it actually really does kind of feel like we are hurtling towards a, oh, maybe I should go for a bit of speed. I bet I can actually boost the distance of my dodge with a bunch of extra speed. Oh, keep that in mind. Let's go for some potency. And potency. And, ooh, crit chance or dodge? Yeah. Okay. And then I'll do barrage again. Even though we're very much going to just be landing on the same build that we already had, which I feel kind of like a hack for doing. We just need more stuff to be able to pull that off. So yeah, I think rather than a Vita, I think I'm just going to wait until the handheld market shrinks back down again, which I actually think might be in our future. I don't know how many of you were paying attention to like tech news and stuff, but the price of RAM has, I think it's quadrupled in the last like couple of months because a bunch of AI companies have just like earmarked all of the RAM for themselves. And like the weird part is they haven't actually bought the RAM. The RAM doesn't exist. They've just ordered a bunch, kind of based on hypothetical money. The whole thing is just like complete nonsense, but still. Go for some more potency because I'm curious about it. Do we want to actually have some max health here? I think so. But effectively, the price of RAM is quadrupled. It sucks. Which means that stuff like the Switch, future gaming consoles, if anybody wants to make a gaming PC, or namely the Steam Machine, are going to get progressively more expensive. At least until supply can match demand. And even then, we are extremely likely to see the price never go back down. It will if like the demand fully craters and these companies need to make money again. But if the demand stays reasonably high, yeah, the price of RAM might just be 4 times what it used to be. It's kind of like how graphics cards used to be a fairly reasonable part of the computer. And now the computer that I'm on, the graphics card literally is like half the price of the total PC, which is very silly. Let's see. Do we want, like, attack speed is good. A little bit of range isn't bad. I should probably go for some damage. Let's see. Let's just go for Incinerate. I'm attacking, man. It is also extremely good and some of the best AoE I can get my hands on. Means, I guess, we benefit from a little bit of elemental damage, but oh well. Let's see. What was I going to say about any of these things? Anyway, price of RAM. There we go. Weird part about the price of RAM, though, is as that gets progressively more expensive, games kind of hard lock. That you're going to start seeing a lot more games like this, even from like bigger developers. Games that would have looked great on the PS3 era that might look a little dated by this point, but because they are considerably less demanding overall compared to, say, I don't know, whatever the biggest, baddest, like, most demanding blockbuster PC games. That's the elemental damage, just overall damage. I'm going to try and avoid regen. Do I want dodge? It's tempting. Crit strike is good, though. Keep pushing dodge. Let's get the Sardonyx, because I want to see what maxed out shotgun attack speed bonus results in. I mean, presumably it just unlocks another T3 gem for us that is presumably good. We'll see. Plus, I want to get this evolution kind of ASAP. Kind of avoid a number of these things. Unfortunately, I think the fire only does like 5 damage, give or take, but it's still good enough for me to want to use it. Whee! I do like spinning through a group of enemies. However, I don't spin through all of them, and I do end up taking a lot of oh god, okay. I do end up taking a lot of damage as a result, and I'm not healing enough to make up for it, which is not great. There's a lot of stuff in the center that I like, including some healing. But yeah, there's no way I'm getting to that without killing myself, so we're not going to. Some more damage. Some more. Where the hell? Okay, let's go for the potency. Keep going dodge, which we might be hitting diminishing returns. Oh, interesting. So I could actually, you can dupe up on the same weapon. More shotgun? More shotgun! Big waves of bullets. That should be good. But as RAM gets more expensive, less people aren't going to be able to afford like high-end gaming PCs anymore. It's just going to be too expensive to, you know, be able to afford even something like what I've got. And so stuff like, yeah, even the Steam Deck goes up in price, but if you can't have a ton of RAM, there's no reason to have a big CPU. There's no reason to have a big graphics card. Also, I believe, you know, the price of RAM also pushes everything else up too, because presumably the amount of parts, well, I don't know. I don't fully know, like, the back-end workings of, like, what bits go where, but I'm assuming the chips that go into RAM are kind of adjacent to the chips that go into graphics, and maybe it's one of those where the demand pushes the price of everything up, or just the price of everything goes up because the price of everything goes up. Greed is greed. Let's see, elemental damage force. Let's go block. Fury, Sardonyx. Okay, so what does this one do? All Fury gems into a weapon, Flamestone. Attacks have a chance to explode on hit, dealing force damage. Oh. So that's how we can take a weapon that normally wouldn't have force and give it force, which actually is pretty good. The reason why I'm actually excited for this, like, despite the fact that the price of RAM going up does suck for everyone, if RAM becomes unaffordably expensive, this game, like, just a little, I don't know about the frame rate. It looks smooth on my end, but it looks maybe a little choppy on my side monitor. But that might just be my side monitor. Hopefully it doesn't look choppy for you guys. Anyway, if we get price of RAM going up too high to the point where nobody can afford a good computer anymore, then what happens is games are forced to be cheaper. I don't know if you've ever seen the image of Sonic the Hedgehog and or Bunlith kind of lounging and saying, you know, I want smaller games with worse graphics that, like, take less time to make. I forget the exact, like, full spiel. Ooh. Do I want to go throw Fulgurite onto something? I think I have to. I'll throw it onto the secondary Bloom Cannon just because that Fulgurite is awesome. Damn. Let's see. I'd have to look up the actual React image. Frankly, I should actually just make my own variant of it, just so I can post it myself whenever I want to. Because, yeah, like on a personal level, I actually prefer games that look like this, that have like a strong commitment to a style, rather than something where you can see exactly how many nose hairs Kratos has. Kratos? It's been a while. Boy. But like, I don't get anything out of that anymore. As a kid, you know, going from the Game Boy to the N64, that was a jump. That was a big one. Going from the N64 to the PS2, also, or PS2 GameCube, that was also a big one. GameCube to the Wii, not so much though, but PS2 to PS3, that was a big one. PS3 to PS4, still a big one, but slowing down. You know, that's the point where we were going from 720p to 1080p, which is kind of the upper limit of what people are capable of processing. Let's go for some crit chance, and the damage buff is tempting. Yeah, because I don't want to use the special charges. They're kind of a pain in the ass to begin with. But, you know, once we hit the PS4 era, graphics kind of hit an upper limit. You really can't go that much better looking than God of War 2018, Doom 2016, Horizon Zero Dawn. You can, but like the diminishing returns are real. My human eyes are just not capable of really processing a game in 8K. I've got plenty of 4K stuff, and I really cannot tell the difference between 4K and 1080p. Like, it's minor at most. I'm going to die, aren't I? Damn it. Game actually gets kind of hard at a certain point, but I also was kind of just rambling. Okay, Flamestone, which is quite good. We also gained some more block. We didn't unlock anything new either. Rough. Well, let's go to a new zone at the very least. Can I? No, I can't. Oh, let's just keep chipping away at it. One more run, win or lose. Hopefully I'll survive. I think just going, well, we weren't getting any damage boosts, but the rest of it was going great. Like, I think the shotgun with the explosions were good. But I want to say shotgun with fire was better. Maybe. A little bit more survivability wouldn't be, like, completely outlandish either. I guess I wasn't using dodge as much as I should have been. Am I a tacky bastard? I'm a tacky bastard. We're salty run backing this one, but hopefully RNG favors me just a little bit more. Hopefully we get a little bit more lifesteal, because I'd like to get the lifesteal guns, because I feel like that actually would work. Anywho, talking about, right, price of RAM, graphics capped out and whatnot. So like PS4 really was kind of the point where we hit this upper limit. PS5 was still a jump, you know, load times are almost instantaneous now. Yeah, load times are almost instantaneous. The visuals look great, environments and whatnot. And so, like, there very much is still a market for a high-end gaming console PC and the games to actually make use of them. But when the PS6 comes out, I don't think you're going to be able to tell the difference. And, I mean, people said this all the time. You know, it's the classic. The PlayStation can produce, you know, mind-boggling effects, and it's like a low-poly kiwi bird thing hanging from a paraglider. Or a parachute? I forget what it was. Like, functionally nothing. Absolute... do I want crit chance? Do I want physical damage? Let's go for the crit chance. Because what we need is the crit chance attack speed buffs. The crit chance giving more crit chance is good, but the attack speed bonus is insanely good. And is necessary if I want to be able to chew through large groups. And so, maybe this is one of those where, like, I am being maybe a little reductive, or maybe I'm just, like, satisfied, and I don't have the hunger for, like, high-end graphics like some people do. But I just can't, I literally can't see the difference between, like, Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. Not really. Like, it's there, you can tell. but it's not like massive in such a way that you're like, whoa. Okay, do we want to do Spirit this time? Yeah, let's do Potency on this. I could go for like raw damage, but we mostly just want to see what the stack 4 of a gem, unlock a new gem onto that weapon. And then whatever my third weapon is, I'll stack all the high tier gems on them, probably. What was I going to say about any of these things? I don't know. I just don't see where graphics can go at this point. So rather than go anywhere, go small, go cheaper, go stylistic, and stop pushing for a future that nobody can see the benefits of. Let's see. Some attack speed. Max health is actually really tempting. This character desperately needs it. And no, I should be going for the critical strikes. Get Barrage. You know, I will go for Rocket Storm rather than Barrage. Even though it's force damage and isn't going to do as much, what we need is group hit, and Barrage ain't going to give that to me. Probably. I don't know. This is probably a bad choice, but I just need to be able to do that as I'm spinning through a group of enemies, because that's probably going to help me more than Barrage. Maybe. Let's see. But so, yeah, like, what if game developers have no choice but to more or less reinvent the Game Boy or start releasing games for the Playdate just because, you know, the price of computers is so absurdly high that we can't make games look better? Oh, God damn. Part of the problem is enemies keep spawning on me, like right on me. Let's go for the potency buff. Okay. And, you know, console manufacturers have to kind of reckon with the fact that nobody wants to buy a Steam Deck for $2,000. Like, that's too much. I mean, obviously, they're not that pricey yet, but if the price of RAM, you know, goes up 4 times, like, that's going to tack on an extra couple $100 just for any future consoles. Unless somebody kind of finds a workaround, or, you know, Steam just decides to make the RAM themselves to drive down prices. Which, like, honestly wouldn't put past Steam. They have the money to do it. Just, you know, convert one of Gabe Newell's many yachts into an offshore RAM factory. Not practical. I fully recognize that. Okay, do we want a little bit of range? We don't have much. Let's go for the physical damage. If I'm not given any other option, then I'll pick something. Alright. Strike reflex. Crits have the chance of giving me a special charge. Not what I'm going for. But at least I can get a bunch. Does mean that I really do need to pump my crit up. Because I think the last time I was stacking tons of crit gems and was able to crit a lot. Here we very much are not. I think we have like 10-15% crit chance and no bonuses. Which is not making this crit build actually work. But yeah, like no joke. Seeing developers having to be constrained by visuals again actually would be huge for the games market. Like, imagine a Square Enix that can't go extremely high budget with their visuals and actually has to, you know, either push gameplay innovation or writing again. I did not care much for Final Fantasy 16. I thought it was kind of bland. Final Fantasy 14 is very much like the correct call in my opinion, though I think they could have gone more like high fantasy with their environment. Okay, potency. A little bit of range. There's the Flamestone. That's the tricky part. Oh well. I guess I'll just put it on the Crimson Duet. I was hoping for another weapon, but we've barely put anything into it. I'll go for maxed out. Okay, yeah, at this point we are just 100% on fire every special all the time. It's a little loud. It's not so bad. Let's see. And I recognize, like, none of these things are going to happen. These companies at this point are so poison-pilled by the idea of chasing infinite blockbusters that it's never going to get there, but on the flip side, like a lot of indie developers very much can thrive in that kind of space. Ow. You know, the problem I'm having with this game is there's no iframe, so I can walk into a group of enemies and get completely smacked by them with like almost no recourse. And yeah, if I dodge through, I just end up piling into another group. It's fine. Physical damage, crit chance, yeah, definitely need to boost that. Okay, do I balloon cannon? Sure. Well, at least now we have infinite waves of shotgun. Hopefully we can get some of the tier 3 crit gem to put on my basic weapon, because those fire pretty fast. I don't know, actually, which is firing more bullets. Them or the shotgun. Don't know if it matters. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like a RAM shortage is probably going to push us to having smaller, lighter consoles that don't require as much like processing power, which means smaller, lighter games that don't require quite as much development and also cheaper, kind of. There's a thing going around on at least my Blue Sky feed earlier today. Obviously, depends on who you follow, but it was the developers from Peak, Aggro Crab, talking about pricing their game, and I think they charged, I want to say $8 for Peak, and that's kind of an odd price point for a game, kind of. Now let's go for the Tourmaline, because we want to max this one out. The other stuff might be better, but I want to max out that, just so we can unlock the T3 gem, which makes me wonder how you get the T2 gem, unless there isn't one. Let's see. But yeah, they were talking about how, you know, $5 is $5, but $4 is also kind of $5, because when somebody's looking at the price of a game, they kind of round to the nearest 10. Or not to the nearest 10, round to the nearest 5. So like a $14 game is no different from a $15 game. A $11 game is no different from a $10 game. So you can kind of do some like price shenanigans with whatever game you're making by pricing them according to, pricing them according to people's perception of value rather than the actual value itself. So a like $2 game is dirt cheap and practically zero. You know, it's practically free. So anybody that sees like a $2 game is going to think, yeah, sure, I can buy that at full price. I'm not even going to think about it. That's how Vampire Survivors did so stupidly well when it first came out, because who is gonna argue with that price point? And that's why so many bullet heavens are so affordable comparatively. Which I actually think is perfectly fine and good, if anything. But, so yeah, it was $2 is basically free. $3 is basically $2, so also still basically free, but once you get up into $4, yeah, that's the $5 range. But it's still cheap. But interestingly enough, the phenomenon is that you can go up to $8 and it's still roughly about $5 or $7.99, kind of somewhere in there. And that will actually like trick people into thinking that a $8 game is the same value as a $5 game, so you can charge roughly about $8 for a game and get away with it. Nobody's going to be like, oh, this is overpriced, unless it's like an hour long, at which point you're going to get that kind of complaint no matter what you do. Obviously, also depends on the quality of the game, what kind of thing you're going for, and so on and so forth. But it was still an interesting conversation to see go by. But I found over the last X number of years that my favorite games truly have been the ones that were like nothing, that cost $2 to maybe $20 tops, which I mean encompasses the entire indie market. Let's just go for the attack speed. Potency, which I don't know what that does, and let's go for attacks have a chance on hit to increase critical strike. The fire pulse is tempting, but it actually only does a little bit of damage. This is going to give us the baseline crit that we need, which also gives me the baseline attack speed that I need, whereas the fire pools just weren't doing it nearly as well. And this also means that I can be firing endless rockets off into the sunset because I have infinite specials now. I'll have to see if there's any specials that fire specifically quicker, because that might actually be something to look into for this build. But that I feel like kind of a developer that is constrained heavily by a potential price point, you know, saying, hey, this is going to be a $5 game, this is going to be a $10 game. You kind of create a game within those expectations. And once again, yes, I understand that most indie games just are created within this limitation. But AAA games, especially the ones that are getting up to $60-$70, it almost kind of feels like it's the same thing, but in the reverse. Let's just throw the Fulgurite onto this one. Reloading restores HP, deals physical damage to a nearby enemy. Yeah, I don't think we unlocked anything new from that one, but it's still going to be helpful. And the crit chance is going to be powerful, question mark. Oh, where's my head on this one? Oh, right. So once you start getting games up into the $60, $70, $80 range, like I know AAA games are starting to get that expensive, and purely from like an inflation perspective, that makes sense. However, from like a market affordability perspective, it actually makes no sense at all. The problem is with pricing games, well, inflation has gone up tremendously, as is cost of living and a bunch of other things. People's like actual buying power has been pretty static for like forever. It goes up a little bit, but not in such a way that you can like comfortably raise the price of AAA games $20 in a 5-year period and expect people to just be able to afford that as normal. Especially when, you know, things are not getting better. You know, if things were getting better or the games were that much better, it makes sense. But I hate to say it, like as good as Tears of the Kingdom was for a lot of people, it really wasn't that much more than Skyward Sword. Or not Skyward Sword. Socket all spirit gems in a weapon. Periodically releases a piercing physical attack and knocks back enemies. Sorry, Tears of the Kingdom is not really that different from Breath of the Wild. It was good, and like I enjoyed it, but it really was just Breath of the Wild, but with a janky but fun crafting system attached, and like a really cool underworld. And so it's one of those where like I actually adore Tears of the Kingdom, even if I haven't finished it, because I think it did everything that I wanted them to have done with they did everything that I wanted them to have done with Breath of the Wild. With one exception, I really wish it hadn't involved Ganon again. At the end of Breath of the Wild, they kill like Ganon's spirit, which is actually the spirit of, oh, what's his face? The evil god from Skyward Sword, who is kind of haunting Ganon since forever. At least that was kind of the lore implications of what happens, and so it's like, oh, Ganon's dead for good, the cycle of rebirth has been ended. And then a prior Ganon just comes out of nowhere for the next game, and that's it. Wait, what? Why do we still have things to do? I guess we just leveled up, so... let's just go for Drain. Oh, no, we weren't done. There was just a bonus boss at Wave 15. I was not expecting that, but hey... Yeah, I'm just going to go for the healing. We don't need the fire. We do plenty of damage. But I was really hoping, and I'm still hoping this, that The Legend of Zelda actually decides to start going in new directions. It's kind of a series that's been stuck in stasis for forever, and it would be really interesting for them to start, like, messing around, being like, okay, so Ganon's just gone, right? What happens now? But, again, it's cyclical. It's kind of like... No one plays it for seeing the future of Hyrule. They see just... They play it to watch a different variation on kind of the same thing with unique and interesting mechanics and whatnot. I do hope they go back to proper dungeon design like they used to have, but oh well. Other people can make that too. There's, you know, if Nintendo wants to ditch the old school Zelda format, somebody will fill the space. It's not a matter of if, it's just when. I'm going to start putting Onyxes into this Bloom Cannon, but I don't think we're going to be able to max it out. We might. Let's see, what was I going to say? But so the problem with these games that are starting to charge pretty much the maximum of a person's gaming budget per year, it's resulting in what I'm going to call kind of kitchen sink syndrome, where a lot of developers have to kind of justify the price. You can't have a small experimental full price AAA game anymore, you know, that only takes like 10-15 hours. You can't have a Shadow of the Colossus. It just doesn't work. You know, back in the day, you could have a Shadow of the Colossus because Shadow of the Colossus was special And while it was shorter than most of the games, it wasn't like absurdly so. Onimusha, which was kind of a contemporary from what I remember, maybe contemporary, maybe it came out like 5 years prior. I don't remember the exact timing on this, but like other PS2 games were only 10-15 hours long. But once you start charging people like $80 for a game plus like a ton of DLC, I only have one reroll gem, which makes this tricky to pull off. I really wish I had like other abilities I could dump gems into, but I guess that wouldn't work either. But yeah, if you're charging, you know, $80 for a base game plus an additional 40, 60 for DLC, you really do kind of have to pack in everything there, because you can't, like, no player is going to want to buy a game that's going to last them only a few hours. You know, that's what kills the Order 1886 or whatever that game was called. That was like a 5-hour game and they were charging full price for it. And well, it looked good and maybe had a good story. Why would anybody want to, you know, if you only have the budget for one AAA game every 3 months, why would you want to buy one that only lasts you 5 hours and has 0 replay value? You're going to want to play a AAA game that can last you that 3-month period and then some, maybe. And so a lot of players expect more and more. I think I'm going to go for max health at this point. Ooh, the dodge would have been nice. Yeah, I'm going to keep boosting Bloom Cannon, see if I can actually get the max destruction gem thing as well, because that could be kind of useful. But as a result, you're getting a lot of these like really big open world games packed with tons of side quests and content and hours of both like mainline story content and side content and stuff. And they're all starting to look kind of like Ubisoft games to me. But like not in a good way. They're starting to look like the bad levels of Ubisoft. Just like Ubisoft is starting to look like the bad levels of Ubisoft that are just like way too big for their own good and only worth playing if you like really want to mainline that game for months on end trying to finish every bit of content, because the story is like big and bloated and the world is huge and there's so many objectives to work on and so on and so forth. That's why I haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom yet, and might never actually. Maybe I'll come back and do like a YouTube series on it, but even then that's going to be like 100 episodes long and I think I'm going to be cranky by the end of it. Oh, there's the Onyx. Perfect. So what's this one give me? Okay, compression. Felled enemies have a chance to leave behind a gravity well. Ooh, that's good. And the boss, it's this guy. Corrupt Mirage. I read that as Corrupt Mage, and I was like, oh, he's a wizard. Okay, so I do have to worry about him shooting me, because oh boy, he hurts. I think I needed to have invested a little bit more into movement speed. And dodge. But on the flip side, boy, got him. He almost took me out. Complete wave 20 with less than 10% HP. Beat Mirage, rank A. Hell yeah. This actually is a really good bullet head. Like I said, doesn't reinvent the wheel, doesn't really push the genre forward massively, but I like it. Shell Protocol releases a damaging wave every time the shell restores health. Oh, that's so good. Increases crit strike proportional to missing health percentage. Brawler increases damage for each enemy within support range. And then we get both Windstone, Obsidian, and some permanent armor rating. And block. I'm kind of feeling going for those devotions. Can I change them? Because we might want to swap to a different one. Divinities seem to have, what, 10 levels? Oh, okay. We can do Fury at the very least. I think we should, just because I'm pretty sure this is going to give me some DPS, which we're going to need. And then also, we're going to be able to get like 4 or 5 levels in one go, which is going to be handy. However, for now, I'm going to leave it here and say that this is a really good bullet heaven. Very worth it if you like the genre. Very worth it if you like old school retro arcade feeling games or graphics and stuff, and you want to just kind of go blast some very strange enemies for like half an hour per run, give or take. I think it's like 20 minutes a run, but it's roughly 20 minutes per run, is a little bit more. And that feels really good to me. It hits a lot of the same stuff that I liked about Brotato, but it feels a little bit more constrained, which is good and bad. It means the build crafting is also more constrained, but it means that you can have like a much more like strong vision of what you're doing. And I think that works. Anyway, it's also $5, which is just always an amazing price. For now, though, I guess I'll leave us here. I'll probably come back for more of this at a later date. Probably not sooner than later. I think this is going to be one of those bullet heavens I load up every 3 months and be like, hey, more Vital Shell. And I might actually re-record a bunch of those videos sooner than later. Anyway, I guess with all that said, if you like this video in any way, shape, or form, leave me a like. It helps more than you know. And if you want to see more rad new games every single day, then hit subscribe because I got tons to check out and show off. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.